Dungeons & Dragons is a worldwide phenomenon. People all over the world play this game of all groups of people. And inside D&D itself is a bunch of different groups of people. Specifically, I'm talking about the classes of D&D. No, I don't mean the races and their class structures. I mean the actual classes. The Barbarians, the Paladins, the Rogues, the Clerics. All of those. And today, I want to talk about my top 5 classes in D&D. For many people, the Rogue is their favorite class. For me, it's only my number 5 class. However, that doesn't stop it from me liking it a lot, for I've only played it one time, but it's still a hell of a lot of fun to do so, dealing a crap ton of damage thanks to its sneak attack. However, for me, personally, I like a little bit more damage, but we'll get into that later. However, for now, I want to talk about what I actually do like about this class. It is versatile. It can fill any number of roles you need it to be, whether you need it to pick a lock, assassinate somebody, hell, even in some cases, spying. This is probably your best class for it, and why I truly love this class is because it can fill in any number of those roles you need to look out. It's your best lookout because of its speed and how quickly it can get around, as well as its dodging abilities. Those added up all together, as well as sneak attack, make this my number 5 favorite class. The Warlock for me is a very fun class in multiple ways. Like I said before with the Rogue, it is a very versatile class. It can fill in the support role, the long-range fighter, as well as an up-close and personal fighter, depending on what patron you fall under. And that is another huge reason for why I love this class, because this class has variety in where it can come from, much like another class we'll talk about later. Revolving around that, when I speak of the variety this class can have, your patron is what matters the most to this class. For a Warlock needs patrons for its power. In particular, I can think of the Celestials, when they need a higher power like a godlike being on the good side of things, or in terms of the Hexblade Warlock, who focus on getting a magical weapon, and that is their patron. Mostly, this fun with this class is all in its customization, because again, a lot of the times people just become the Eldritch Blast guy, or the guy who does the healing, or the guy who does the buffs. However, if you can make it fun, it's a lot of fun. The Artificer, or the Artificer, or however the heck you say it, because apparently that's a debate going on in the world of D&D right now that I didn't really know was an issue. Anyway, the Artificer is a more recent class that I have fallen in love with, and unfortunately I still haven't had the opportunity to actually play as it, but I do have a character in my current campaign that I am running who is an Artificer, and he is awesome. He walks around with 2 guns, and he turns one of his 2 guns into a cannon using his magic. Oh, but that's the important thing about an Artificer. It's not actually magic, or at least it's not supposed to be flavored as magic. You see, it's still just the regular magic spells, but with a different twist. More of a technological feel to it. Say, for instance, you cast Fireball, and you have your Artificer with a cannon. That Artificer uses the cannon, or in some cases, I had a player who, at one point, used a gun hand, which was really cool. I like that a lot. Where he would cast Fireball by releasing his Fireball from his wrist gun, where his hand would fall over, kind of like Berserk with his cannon, and he would shoot Fireball out of it as if it was a saved commodity, less of a spell. With Artificer, have fun with it. That's why I love the Artificer, because it's a flavor build. You'll notice a lot with a lot of these, except for my top 2, it's all about flavor. And I will continue to do that for the rest of my life when it comes to the Artificer, because the Artificer is fun when you flavor it to make fun with it. Don't just say, I cast Fireball. Say, I point my gun and it glows a bright red when I flick a switch, and now fire comes flying through it. Right? Do that kind of thing. Artificer is fun when you play with your imagination. It's not magic, people. It's technology. The Paladin, a holy knight who wanders the world in search of evil. At least for me. Other people do it differently when they're the Fallen, or the Vengeance one, or whatever one you're going to choose. For me personally, I like to walk around as a Vengeance Paladin, where I can knock the head off of literally everything using Divine Smite, plus haste. I love doing that combo. It seems really fun to me. However, for me, the first time I ever played a Paladin, I was playing an elf who was looking for his purpose in the world, where he has now found it by conquering a kingdom that he believes is evil. And that's the fun part about this. You can go crazy with these characters, you can go nuts. Paladins are essentially the next best thing when it comes to damage. In my opinion, it's the second best damage dealing class in the entire game, even higher in some cases than the rogue. For me personally, I love the idea of walking around with a lot of armor, being able to heal people, being able to deal a lot of damage. It is a versatile class in every sense because it can do everything. Primarily towards itself, but hey, what can you do? I love Paladins because I love to be able to heal, take damage, as well as deal a crap ton of it. And I also like to multi-class it with my number 1 spot, which you guys will see in a second. The Barbarian. There is nothing cooler, nothing meaner, and nothing better to play in Dungeons & Dragons than a Barbarian. Walking around with a massive fucking great axe or sword, slashing up everything on the field, and making it look vicious, malicious, and powerful. Nothing is more fun than walking around with that great sword or axe, hacking up the enemies, protecting your allies, as well as getting all of the brutal criticals. I love dealing damage, and when it comes to it, that is definitely the class I want to pick. Yes, in my opinion, this is better than the rogues, this is better than the paladins. I think this class, when it comes to dealing a shit ton of damage, and it's why I multi-class with Paladin, just to get that little bit of extra damage in there, is because if you can crit with this thing, if you manage to pull out a 20, and then let's refer back to the search for Grog. People, if you're watching this, you're more than likely a fan of Critical Role. Grog rolled 2 natural 20s with brutal critical, shit ton of damage was dealt. It is a lovely, 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 lovely class. And I love playing it because it deals a lot of damage, and it just looks the best doing it, running through all of the enemies on the field, non-stop. Not to mention, a huge part of what makes Barbarians cool to me comes from a character called Guts, from Berserk. I did mention him before all the way back in the Artificer section. However, I would more consider him to be less of a Barbarian and more of a Paladin, but a lot of people do make the comparisons to them because of all the rage and shit he feels. However, when I first played D&D, I didn't know about Guts. Now, ever since then, Guts has, yes, definitely played a huge part of me building Barbarians, because that rage, that anger, all has to come from somewhere. Whether it be a loss or protection of someone you want to care for, or you have an item or something you need to find. Barbarians can have fun because that rage can be explained. Don't just let it anger be anger. Have a reason for it. Barbarians, in my opinion, give off the best ability for roleplay. Whether you're being like Grog and you're stupid and people love you for being stupid because you're so innocent, or you're angry because of a lost love you need to find. Something is there for a Barbarian's roleplay. Roleplay! Have fun with these. And for me, Barbarian is the most fun. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, because I sure as hell love making it. If you guys want more, I'm going to probably try and get a top 5 in there every once in a while, rolling around Dungeons & Dragons, video games of all sorts. Yes, from here on out, I intend to do Dungeons & Dragons stuff. If you guys like Dungeons & Dragons stuff, stick around. I intend to do more. You'll see me do more crafts, you'll see me do top 10s or top 5s. Top 5s, not doing top 10s. But you'll see me doing more lists around it, maybe even some lore around it. Maybe I'll even dive into the world that I created for you guys to explore. So if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, please subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you didn't like it, you don't have to do any of that, but stick around to see if you guys actually find out more about it and if you do like it. Soul Hero out.